The next point that was made that I thought was interesting was that families who haven't homeschooled before may choose to homeschool post-pandemic. And I guess there was a poll that went out that actually kind of looked to confirm that. And it did find that a lot of families were considering homeschooling their children after the pandemic. Um, but the reason that this particular article, the Harvard article, gave was that it makes it easier for parents who are abusing their children to hide that abuse. And while I'm not going to deny that that's a possibility, I think there's more to it than that. Um, Things like bullying that happens in the schools, oftentimes it's not addressed appropriately. The qualifications for what constitutes as bullying and what doesn't is very specific, almost too specific. And getting abuse or getting bullying addressed in the school system is not always easy to do. I know personally, one of my family members was pulled from a public school system and put into online virtual school, which is basically homeschooling, for that reason, because she was being bullied and the school wasn't doing anything about it. Um, Another problem with the school system and why parents may choose to pull their kids and put them in homeschooling is that the system that we have often stifles skills. Um, when you're in a public school system, you follow what the standards are saying you have to follow and what basically what the government says you need to be learning. And for some students, that's just not where they're going to be. Our school system is designed to build up the skills for college bound students, and not all students are going to be college bound. Not all students are going to have the biggest skill sets in the primary academic content. And so those students who are not completely mathematics and English and science and social studies focused, or mainly just math and science because that's what we test in, those students who have their skills in other areas kind of get forgotten in planning. As much as the teachers try to include those kids, it's hard because you have mandates. There's mandates, things that you absolutely have to do. And so certain skills, so certain subject areas kind of fall to the back burner. Another absolutely big reason is standardized testing. A lot of parents are not happy with standardized testing. A lot of teachers are not happy with standardized testing. Studies have shown that standardized testing kind of raises stress levels for students. There are more mental health problems for students nowadays than there ever was before standardized testing was as common as it is now. And it can really cause students to struggle. So a lot of parents might opt to homeschool because they've seen that, oh, hey, my child is actually not pulling their hair out this spring because they don't have to worry about the FSA test or whatever particular test you do. I remember even being a good test taker when I was in school, the FCAT was so stressful. Because they put so much emphasis on this test that you have to pass it or you fail, that can weigh a lot on kids' shoulders, no matter how young they are, be it third grade, be it 11th grade getting ready to go to college. That's a lot of information to deal with, and it can be very stressful, especially for students who are not good at test taking. The final reason that I came up with for why parents might not want to send their kids back to school is illness. Students who have chronic illness, students who are high high susceptibility to something like the coronavirus, they may not feel comfortable with their kids going back to school. Um, I know when you have a chronic illness, it can be difficult to keep up with the schoolwork that's required when you cannot go to school as often as you should. I know, for example, I had asthma growing up, and so I actually missed quite a bit of school because of complications with asthma, complications with migraines, complications with my sinuses. I kind of experienced a lot of those, and I missed a lot of school because of it, because I'd wake up in the morning and I just couldn't go. And unfortunately, my school had a policy that kind of punished students for being late. So it was often more beneficial for me to just stay home the whole day and rest than to go in halfway through the day for the last 4 periods of the day and be punished for showing up late. So policies on attendance aren't always helpful. in that area for students with illness. And it just really makes it hard for students who have illnesses or who have chronic diseases. It makes it really hard for them to keep up. But with homeschooling, you can kind of go at your own pace a little bit more than you would in a public school classroom.